Everyone, happy Thursday. I hope you're doing well. I am at the beach for spring break. I got a little sunburned, but it was totally worth it. So the weather has been great. So I hope you're having a good spring break as well. I wanted to talk a little bit about dreaming today. So you guys know I've talked about meeting your dreams and manifesting and achieving your goals and all of that. And I kind of want to talk about the other side of it a little bit about what happens when those dreams, those goals haven't been achieved. It doesn't mean they won't, but just what do you do when they haven't been achieved yet? Well, you guys know that I like spirituality stuff, and I'm religious, but I'm really into human design. Hi, Anna. And one of the things I've learned about human design, specifically my human design, is that I am a specific manifester, which means that to me it means that I have to specifically call out exactly what I want in order to be able to manifest it, that it's not this general feeling. And sometimes, manifestation people talk about general feelings that we're going after. No, mine is like specific. That can be a good thing, but it also can be not so easy, not such a, yeah, it can be disappointing. It can be disappointing because that specific manifestation hasn't happened yet. So I've really been doing some thinking and some reading and um, watching different things, and I'm really into Carl Jung, and I really like his idea of synchronicities, that we have synchronicities that happen in our life, events that are meaningful, meaningful coincidences. And I was thinking about it that we can apply that same logic to dreams, and that, one can believe there's a design to life because of the meaning that we put behind what happens to us. So, in a way, it's freeing because it's freeing ourselves, freeing myself from the outcome. But then also, it turns things around, that nothing is good or bad. It's all good because we're learning. We're taking meaning from every event, even a non-event, event that hasn't happened. There's still meaning there. Um, and I think that's beautiful. That brings an autonomy there. It brings some empowerment because we have good things and bad things that happen in our lives. And some of the things we call out and some of the things we want to manifest, we want to put on our vision board, which I love vision boarding. And it's the meaning is what happens after it happens or when it doesn't happen. What is that going to mean to us? And I think that's actually a good design for all religion. I think that's brings design to something that maybe doesn't feel like it's designed. Some people might find this take to be controversial because there are bad things that happen in this world, very bad things, things that might make someone who feel better if there's no design, if there's no rhyme or reason, something would happen. And it just for me, that doesn't feel right in my gut. It doesn't feel like exactly right. And I think one of the reasons is like, what is it, the blue dot theory, or when astronauts go to the International Space Station, anything that they observe is all in this like a blue dot, right? So everything that divides us, because I think everything is connected. We're all connected. We are all one. We're all one. When something happens to one of us, it happens to all of us. And so this blue dot theory is that, like, you look back on the earth and it's just all the things that divide us are insignificant. All the things that have gone wrong are insignificant because You look at it and you go, how is this even possible that we were created, that this earth was created? It was like 1 in a billion chance. And then, you know, being born 1 in a billion chance, and that, we are created from the same material of stars. Like, just that it's too wild a story to not believe that there's a design. I just wonder if the design comes from the meaning after the fact. And I don't mean that none of the other ways of manifesting and are not true, that the energy we put out and the things we want, that doesn't bring some power to us and to help our future. But I think imagining that the design happens really after the fact and the meaning that we take from it just separates ourselves from the outcome, not having to worry about the outcome, because either way, any way you look at it, it's going to be good. A bunch of shows I did ago, like a long time, I think it was last year. I talked about a show I saw on Netflix about the blue zones. And those are places in the world, countries are in the world that people live until their hundreds. And so this guy was going around trying to figure out what it was that had these specific areas, a bunch of people who are living into their hundreds. And I think about the Japanese episode and how one of the big reasons that those people lived till they were 100 is that they had ikigai, and that is purpose. So these people found purpose in what they were doing. They had a reason to be there. And one woman was planting her garden every day. Another guy was like, I think, into martial arts or some kind of weaponry. Uh, but they found their purpose. They found their reason is to live. And I think that we need that. We need we need our reason to have to go through what we go through. What is the alternative? The the world is chaos, that we live in chaos, that our lives are insignificant and all an accident. I just I don't think that's possible. So I think what is good about finding meaning after the fact is it gives you some maturity. There's some maturity there. It gives you some perspective. Doesn't mean that you can't still have dreams, that you can't still do your vision board. You can't, make new goals. It doesn't mean any of that. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do any of that. It just, you stop having expectations. I think it's when you have expectations, and again, being a specific manifester, I think I've sometimes had expectations, and you cannot, especially if your dreams and goals involve other people, involve other circumstances that you have no control over. It's tough because when those things don't happen, it can be devastating. And life is way too short to be devastated, to be let down. Now, it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen, because it will happen, because again, well, you're human and this is life, and there are going to be ups and there are going to be downs. But do we let it, do we let ourselves stay there? Or do we find meaning? Because it can only be good if you're learning. And that gets you closer to your ikigai, to your purpose. Because we don't always know our purpose, our reason to be here, our reason to be alive, our reason to have this dream of being a musician. We don't always know where that comes from. Sometimes it's placed there like a dream when we're sleeping at night. We just don't know. It's not letting that be everything. It's not being so rigid in what we achieve and how we achieve it and when it's going to happen and all that. It's letting go. And I'm telling myself this because this is something I needed to hear today. Hey, at least if you're with me, at least we're dreaming. At least we have a vision, and at least we're brave enough to see what happens. And if it doesn't happen, being humble enough and open enough to see what else is in store and to see what meaning you can get behind that, and not just being so stuck. So I hope that you spend some of your time dreaming. Find your ikigai, find your purpose, find the meaning in everything that's happened that's been significant to you, because there is a reason. There is a reason. And be open to things adjusting, changing, timeline not being the same, but don't give up. All right. On that note, I will see you again soon. Bye.